In the 1970s, the current director of the National Institute of Mental Health was called in by a doctor in the hospital where he was working to see an autistic child because it was such a rare condition and he might never have a chance to see one again. Now, 1 in 88 children has been diagnosed as being somewhere on the autism spectrum. There's a gigantic argument going on as to whether that frequency has to do with a change in diagnosis and diagnostic criteria, or whether it has to do with a change in incidence. It's very difficult to say, but the likelihood seems to be that both things are happening. Autism is another category that I thought of as a terrible affliction, and then I got into the world of autism and encountered the neurodiversity movement. And the neurodiversity movement is really a movement of people who have said that autism is a different way of thinking and it's a different way of being, and that it needs to be respected, and that people who have got autistic tendencies should not be normalized. And a lot of them point out that it's people who have had some degree of autism who have been behind all kinds of inventions, that some people with autism have extraordinary splinter skills, that autism isn't only deficits. There are things autistic people can do that non-autistic people can't do. It's the old Rain Man idea, but it operates on a much larger scale than that. The most obvious example is Temple Grandin, who's designed a great deal of cattle handling equipment and has done these really extraordinary things. She's reformed the whole way that cattle are handled in the beef industry in the United States and around the world. And I asked her whether the process of designing them had relied on her autism. And she said that it relied both on her ability to identify with animals, because she felt her mind in some ways worked more like the minds of animals than ours do, and also with her ability to conceptualize things in 3 dimensions, an ability that she has to an extraordinary degree that's very unusual in non-autistic people. And I said to her, it's extraordinary. I said, the work is a work of such genius. And she said, genius is an abnormality too. Someone said, if you imagine the first cavemen, the social ones were all yakking around the campfire, and the autistic one was in the corner chipping the first stone spear. If we were to eliminate the autism spectrum entirely, it would be a catastrophic loss for society at large. It's difficult to reconcile that reality with the obvious unhappiness of an extremely anxious child who has no speech and is banging his head against the wall, and trying therefore to reconcile the variety of experience contained on the autistic spectrum is the devil's work.